At last, we come to the movie critic dude's request. Now this one's a little weird since it's not really animal themed, but two of its supposed main cast are animals that do take part in the plot somewhat. The movie in question is the 1997 Pippi Longstocking movie, and its origins are interesting. Pippi Longstocking was the name of a series of children's books by Astrid Lindgren, first published in 1945 while originally written as a get-well story to her daughter at the time of creation and almost in a way meant to be the literature version of said daughter. She's sorta like the girl version of Peter Pan given her attitude on growing up, but unlike Peter Pan, her gimmick was that she had superhuman strength. Strength that no one knows how or why she has it, on top of her telling tall tales of her adventures at sea with her father. Yep, sounds about what I'd expect at this point from foreign books. Imaginative story with interesting characters that break expectations with their unique, charming personalities and quirks. Many of the books would be adapted into various movies, mostly live action, but aside from a cancelled Miyazaki film adaptation, the only animated media for Pippi that I'm noticing is the 1997 movie, which then led into a TV series in the same year. I'd be hesitant to really let this one through because just because two of her pets get some screen time, it wouldn't make this fully animal themed. But I did let Summer Wars go through because of King Cosma, and then of course I just did an entire hour-and-a-half OVA that only had one episode with werewolves in it, so okay, this one gets a pass as well. Maybe I ought to rethink this whole Patreon thing at some point. Well, at least this gives me a chance to look at another Nelvana movie and enjoy some more 90s animation. So let's see what their second feature-length film is like since Babar. Here's Pippi Longstocking. So right away we get our first look at one of the pets to our title character, a monkey named Mr. Nelson. And as we can see, they live on a rather large ship her father runs and...
Standing on top of Mount Kilimanjaro, watching the sunrise, the wind in my hair. I'm gonna go wherever I wanna go, there's magic everywhere.
Okay, one, that's Melissa Altrol voicing her, and I recall her as Muffy from Arthur. And two, the song is... it's okay. It's almost expected at this point for a lot of the 90s animated movies to go through musical cues, and a part of me wants to enjoy this song at least because it's in line with what her character is. She's an adventurer who goes around doing all sorts of things, and there's some neat visuals to match, but magic in the air just makes me question what sort of creative thought we'll be in for, since, as per usual, I'm sure some people are going to like certain songs while finding others cringeworthy. Anyway, one night after a montage of adventures, a storm brews. No time to sleep, time to pull your weight around here.
Hold tight, Pippi! Hold tight yourself!
Babar, please! Clearly the girl has a better grasp on the situation than you and your band of weaklings. Yes, that's Gordon Penson again. And indeed, he fails to hold on because after another wave hits him, he's gone.
Go back, Pippi!
Let go of the line, Mr. Nelson! Wait, hurry! Oh!
Well, she might have the strength of Popeye on spinach, but she's still limited to what a little girl can do, so she's forced to pull back.
Papa!
Don't worry! I'm so fat, I'll float!
He's probably gonna die later.
See you in Villa Villacola!
That would be the name of the house she lives in, which coincidentally also acts as both a set for the old TV series, but also a sort of museum for Astrid's work. So they dock, and I guess they're just gonna let her go home by herself. Then again, after how many adventures I'm sure we could be going on instead of what follows next, wouldn't a superhuman girl be capable of living by herself? So taking her horse, named Horse, She and Nilsson ride toward home while another song kicks in.
The breeze knows something's happening. The dew knows something too. The sun, he smiled that special smile. The sweet song of the blackbird calls softly across the bay. And the flowers are dancing all the while. Come and be happy, the day shines around us.
Not bad, but now I have a feeling there'll be a song about every 10 minutes. And it'll start to wane on my spirit as it tries to keep perky despite the rate they're coming in. We're then introduced to the neighborhood children, Tommy and Anika, who were her friends in the books and other adaptations. Their problem? They have no one to play with. Wait, what? But it's a big town! How do they have no one to play with? Unless they recently moved here and they've yet to make new friends, then okay. There's this girl and her monkey who will want to meet ya. I have a theory! Pippi is actually a Kryptonian who was sent the same way as Clark and Kara were, and was found by her adoptive father. That's why she's super strong and has super breath. I love how they still get mail, even though it makes me wonder how much of it are unpaid bills. Father does a bad job keeping up his mortgage. And they have a treasure chest. Surely this won't come into play later.
I hate croquet. It's the stupidest thing ever made up.
Come on, it's your turn. Good morning,
Mrs. Priscillius.
Good morning, children.
Okay, they had to have been living here for a while if they know who this lady is. Mrs. Priscillius, voiced by Catherine O'Hara, who we've seen a few times now, is a social worker who we'll be seeing quite a lot later. For now, the kids finally meet the title character, who does this.
Who are you?
Why are you walking backwards?
Why am I walking backwards? It's a free country, isn't it? Anyway, for that matter, let me tell you that in Egypt, everybody walks backwards. And nobody thinks it's the least bit strange.
Have you really been to Egypt?
Have I been to Egypt? You bet! I've been all over the world. Whee! Anyway, in India, everyone walks on their hands.
That's a lie.
That's true. It is.
It's bad to tell lies.
Oh yes, it's very bad to tell lies.
Adding on to my theory earlier, she was first discovered by Usopp and learned how to tell lies before he transferred her to her new father after becoming too much to handle. She invites the two in for pancakes. Guess what happens?
First we'll start with a happy heart and mix with good intentions. A pinch of chalk can do no harm, and a dream is good to mention. Stir it all up in a great big cup and shake it with emotion. Then we'll top it off with love with that magic potion. Then we'll try it out to see if we should add some more. There's really nothing to it. There's really nothing to it.
Churn it down a little. You're putting too much whimsy on my musical adventure. You're making your songs seem about as half-baked as your quick and easy pancakes. And even though they witness her super strength mid-song, they don't seem to be bothered that much. Mrs. Priscillius shows up to order the children home. Why do they have to listen to her? They are clearly visiting a neighbor and goes inside the house and naturally is confused by what she sees.
Come now. Enough of this funny business. When will your parents be here, young lady?
That's an excellent question. You see, my mother is in heaven, and my father's lost at sea. Although Friedel's gone to find him.
This is impossible.
It is? What?
That you should live here all by yourself. Shoo! We must find you a place in a children's home.
But I already live in a children's home.
Oh? And just where is this home?
Here. After all, I am a child. And this is my home.
Can't argue with that logic. She tries to persuade Pippi into going into a home, and Pippi ends up showing her her gold coins. She doesn't take it well and leaves. You'd think this will be another reason to try and get her out of the house so she can get rich quick, but nope, that's the motivation for these two. Meet Bloom and Thunder Carlson.
We are men of humble pleasures.
We are chaps of modest dreams.
It's the simple things that make one's life complete.
Also, why does he look like Muggsy from Looney Tunes?
And every now and then, a little treat. You know what I really want, Thunder Carlson?
You're not gonna sing, are you, Bloom?
I want a bowler. An English bowler. That's all I'm yearning for, and nothing more than that. I'll wear my bowler when I'm yachting or gavoting with my friends. I'll tip it lightly to the ladies.
These songs are getting weirder and weirder, and I'm starting to doubt even the source material would be this silly.
Tooth. One golden tooth to keep my tongue from hanging loose. Dining with the king and queen of Spain. I'll use it to crack open the champagne.
They end up overhearing Priscillius talking about Pippi and how she even has a chest of gold coins.
Fair authorities.
Hardly. This is serious. She's a nuisance.
Nuisance? Nuisance. We have several forms for nuisances. Oh, here we go.
Enough! Enough! She's living alone, unsupervised.
That wouldn't be vagrancy.
I love how she doesn't even care for the obscene amount of money. She's really that devoted to her job, which is actually kind of admirable that she doesn't do it for money. So, it's different. Granted, she's a complete prude. And does no one bother looking up the house records to determine if she ever lived there before? Sure, she's alone, but legally, this is most likely her house still. Anyway, the next day, Pippi is out watering flowers in the rain, and the two neighborhood children show up to let her know they're heading to school.
What do you do there? Well, you learn things like 2 times 2 is 4. You know, multiplication.
Plutification? I never heard of it. But so far I've gotten along just fine without it. Thanks.
But it's fun to go to school. I'd go crazy if I couldn't go.
And you get Christmas holidays and summer holidays and Easter holidays.
But that's incredibly unfair. In 4 months it'll be Christmas. And you all get Christmas holidays. And what do I get? Not the least little holiday.
What, are you going to sing about it now? Surprisingly, no. But anyway, it looks like Bloom and Carlson are going to escape soon. Where are the cops? Fishing. Because of course that's what big-nosed adults would do. Be incompetent. Other than that, Pippi decides to go to school after all.
Vacation?
Oh, you must be the new little girl in town.
How is she new in town? If her father owned that villa, she had to have been in this town on some occasion. Otherwise, she wouldn't know where all the pancake mix is. It makes sense to be new in school. But do none of the adults in this town ever recall seeing a red-headed girl with long stockings on her legs and a monkey on her shoulder? This seriously can't be the first time people in this town have seen her. Or am I just overthinking it, like me trying to figure out where her abilities originate from?
Explain something about school to you. Learn this lesson well today, and Pippi, you must try. Soon we'll get to run and play, but first we'll multiply.
How many songs are we up to now? Jeez, all in the span of a half hour. Although oddly, after this, we won't be getting another song until the end. So keep this in mind. This is just a regular song about Pippi and the teacher battling over who's more right about math. This isn't a villain song either, but a regular one to end the original songs. So Pippi gets scolded.
But what makes me even more sorry is that you can't behave properly.
Haven't I behaved properly?
I'm sure you meant to, Pippi. Now run along and remember, when you come to school, you must behave.
Gee, I wonder if this will mean something later. And then...
You can come to her tea party this weekend.
A tea party? Me?
I don't know. We never had tea parties at sea.
Oh hey, we'll actually be able to see the consequences of her actions soon. But uh-oh, Priscillius is here too. What kind of shenanigans will happen this time?
Those look like cherries. They are. Oh dear, something's happened to the cake. This is indeed a catastrophe.
Oh, it certainly is.
Well, since it's ruined anyway, I might as well finish it off.
Okay, now I'm convinced you're an anime character. No one eats that fast except shonen protagonists, thank you very much. Man, her father sure spoiled her. I mean, did no one on that ship teach her anything about treating people like people? They must have if foreigners could tolerate her. What sort of example will this set for the children watching this?
Stop! Phew.
Ha ha ha! A fat person just crushed 2 twins. Surely people will love her for that.
I'm afraid I won't be able to invite you again if you don't learn to behave properly. I'm sorry, Pippi.
I should have known. I should have stayed at sea. I guess I'll become a pirate after all.
This is the first time it looked like she felt bad for something. Though it doesn't result in tears, it just makes her reminisce about her father. The only problem with this is because she's so happy all the time, it's hard to feel bad for her or know if she's actually sad or not. She's just a one-dimensional character whose shtick is to constantly play and make fun of people. Even Peter Pan had a more dynamic personality than her, and they tend to act alike as far as kids not wanting to grow up and learn actual responsibilities. In the meantime, the 2 crooks escape jail, and because the cops are idiots, they don't realize their vehicle is stolen. They show up as Pippi is counting her father's gold coins, and of course, she is completely oblivious to the idea that these 2 are after her money. Yeah, not even Dennis from the Dennis the Menace movie was this oblivious. Luckily, they leave anyway, thinking Mr. Nelson was human, but plan to return the next night. By the way, the cops go by Mr. Kling and Mr. Clang, just because. And they get treated like idiots even more. Why, it's almost like this movie was doing what the books did and treat the adults as pompous fools. Only they're going a bit overboard with it.
Is there a Pippi Longstocking in there?
Not at the moment, but there's one out here.
Where? Huh?
Here, I'm Pippi Longstocking.
You can come with us to the children's home.
Certainly. That was easy. We had a long talk about children's homes. I was saying that since I lived here, Villa Villacula already is a children's home. And she said she'd be sure to come back to visit.
She did. Well, I'm glad that's settled.
They get tricked into thinking the house is a children's home and offer to help her.
Slithering idiots! What are you doing up there?
Just fixing up the children's home.
Kling, don't look down.
Huh?
No!
Imbeciles.
Takes one to know one. Seriously, does no one remember the owner of this house? Time for the wet bandits again. I say that because they even get fooled by the Shadow Act, just like in Home Alone. At least they get to sneak inside after she goes to bed. Never mind.
So, Miss, where's the money you were counting?
In the den.
Well, I hope you don't mind if we take it, dear.
Certainly not.
How are you this oblivious? Oh, I know why. Because everyone else is incompetent that it'd be impossible for anything bad to happen. Anything that would be inconvenient to her would be whisked away by her superhuman strength and innocence. Even Annie didn't have it that easy. She has to cry at some point, damn it. Time to go to that circus that was shown earlier. which means more idiot action from the not wet bandits and Priscillius too for some reason.
What are you doing here?
We haven't done anything. Yet? Whoa!
We saw you coming, Mrs. Priscillius. Or rather, we were waiting for you.
Actually, we were here for a dancing lesson.
What we mean is, we'd like to help you.
Get the goal.
Where is the child anyway?
They're going to the circus.
You don't say. Well, perhaps you two gentlemen may be of some use yet.
I think you're better off with the cops. These two are bigger idiots than they are. At the circus, Pippi decides to take up the challenge in beating the world's strongest man, while the two dumbbells decide to sneak in by disguising themselves as clowns. Though, why do they have to sneak while in disguise? They already fit right in with the rest of the clowns here. This whole sequence just feels like padding than anything else in this movie. We already know nothing bad will happen to Pippi. There's no stakes involved. It also feels surreal knowing that we haven't had a song in a long time. They really chose an awkward time to drop that. Naturally, when they fail to catch her there, they decide to try getting her in this scary truck that freaked Horse out. Say, if a truck is following some kids but they don't notice, is it really dangerous? Oh, never mind. Anika notices, but Pippi's still oblivious. With the cops and Priscillius tailing them, is this supposed to be the big climax?
Hey, did you see that? Back up. It's him.
You two are the worst cops in existence!
Worthington's have a half-price sale on bowler hats.
Really, Thompson? This is hardly the time. Great Scotland Yard!
What is it?
Cane's a half-price too.
Are you going to take charge of this evidence?
Positively. Never fear, Tintin. The evidence is safe with us. Thompson, where are you?
Oh, well, I'm already downstairs. Do try to keep up.
Okay, second worst cops. But they're up there, just as these two are the worst bandits in history.
Some company you've been keeping, my love. High time I came, it seems.
Indeed, Captain Longstocking. You had arrived just in time.
Who let them out?
Not me.
Oh, well, they're back in now.
Oh, and I almost forgot, Pippi's father comes back just in time as Priscillius was about to get rough in handling Pippi. Now she's suddenly attracted to him and drops wanting to take Pippi away. That was fast. So it looks like they're going back to sea. But Pippi doesn't want to leave her new friends behind, so he lets her stay.
Least of all Tommy and Annika. I'm staying in Villa Coola.
Well, perhaps you're right, my dear. Children need a little order in their lives.
You don't know what order is! And then the movie ends with them riding home while Pippi sings a reprised version of the first song. Well, that was something. It started out okay, but it kind of fell apart about halfway through. At first, you can kind of see them keeping to the character that Pippi was meant to be. But the common cartoon antics got mixed in too much to the point where it felt very childish at times, without any meaning to it. Hardly any lessons were learned. It's like they gave up trying to show any morals the same time they stopped with the songs. Not that I was expecting Pippi to reveal her origins or explain her abilities. I can assume it's part of how it was in the books to where it didn't matter since the character is supposed to bewilder you. But here it looks like she was going to have some character development, but it never comes. She never cries, nor does she really frown. It's like nothing bad really happens to her. It's like they're afraid to stray away from that one character trait just to keep it all happy. As for the plot, it kind of felt like one long pilot episode, which is convenient since they did do the TV show afterwards, though it doesn't change the fact that the movie bombed big time, barely making a fraction of its $11.5 million budget back with around $500,000. Reception-wise, it didn't really receive well, and I can see why. For its efforts, it just came up flat. and it felt like the charm was being sucked out the longer it went on. The only real positive is that the animation quality is at least good. Given the quality of the footage I had to use though, you wouldn't be able to tell, since copies of the DVDs go for about $70 or more, but he insisted I review this anyway. Bottom line, I probably wouldn't recommend this movie, unless you want to compare Pippi films to each other, or if you really love 90s animation like I do sometimes. But anyway, that's the end of the Patreon board for this month. The rest of the month, assuming nothing happens, will be dedicated to card games and duel monsters. That's right, next episode, we begin reviewing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies. See you soon!
Standing on top of Mount Kilimanjaro, watching the sunrise, the wind in my hair. I'm gonna go wherever I wanna go, there's magic everywhere. I dance